Jersey set to return over $9.5 million in corruption proceeds to Nigerian government to support infrastructure. Labour Party affirms Abia State Governor Alex Otti as national leader, wishes Peter Obi well. Aliko Dangote files formal corruption petition against former NMDPRA boss. On the foreign scene, Iran cut off from outside world after authorities blacked out internet to curb expanding protests. Good evening and welcome to News at 7 on Western Spring Television. We sincerely apologize for the lateness in the start of news. My name is Timitope Ajijolaluola. Authorities in Jersey, a British Crown dependency in the Channel Islands between the United Kingdom and France, are set to return more than $9.5 million to the Nigerian government. The funds will be funneled into supported infrastructure projects in the West African country. The repatriation followed a memorandum of understanding in December between the Attorney General for Jersey, Mark Temple Casey, and the federal government. The MOU is built on two past deals between Nigeria and Jersey, involving the return of over $300 million, which were held in a bank account in the island. According to Nigeria's Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, the return of the funds will be used in line with the terms of the agreement. The minister said the money will support the construction of the last stages of a highway linking Abuja to Lagos. And to politics, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Dati Baba Ahmed, says he did not declare interest in contesting for the presidency in 2027. Dati said this on Friday during an interview, explaining that he only clarified that he was still a member of the Labour Party. He blames those who employ sensationalism on social media for putting out wrong narratives to emotional listeners. His comments came days after Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, teamed up with the coalition African Democratic Congress, ADC. Dati and Obi ran on a joint ticket in that poll, but the former has remained in the Labour Party and believes the party is big enough to challenge for Nigeria's exalted seat. He also added that Obi will be welcomed back to the party if he does not get the ADC presidential ticket, while noting that the time has come to give fresh blood a chance in Nigerian politics. Baba Ahmed said since his days as a member of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has been consistently contesting for the presidency. Meanwhile, the Labour Party has affirmed Abia State Governor Alex Otti as its national leader and is wishing the party's presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, well following his decision to join the coalition African Democratic Congress, ADC. The party's national secretary, Darlington Nkwocha, disclosed this in a communique, saying the decision followed a meeting of the Labour Party's National Working Committee on Wednesday to deliberate on key issues affecting the stability, growth, and strategic direction of the party. The opposition party said its National Working Committee also recognized former Finance Minister Nenadi Usman as the party's national chairman. Nwakacha explained that the party reaffirmed the Supreme Court judgment of April 4, 2025, which held that the tenure of Julius Abure as national chairman of the Labour Party had elapsed. It called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to accord Usman and its national secretary, Nwakacha, all rights and privileges in line with the court's verdict recently cited by the electoral body. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned an Austrian national, Kavlak Onau, before the Federal High Court in Lagos for failing to declare foreign currencies amounting to $800,575 and €651,505, totaling about 2.28 billion naira. The EFCC prosecutor Bilikisu Buhari told Justice Yelem Bogoro that Ono was arrested with the currencies at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, by officers from the Nigeria Customs Services Anti-Money Laundering Unit. The defendant, however, pleaded not guilty to the two-count charge when it was read to him by the court's registrar. Based on the plea, the prosecutor urged the court to fix a trial date and remand the defendant in the Nigerian Correctional Services pending trial. Defense lawyer Stalin Imemoro informed the courts that a bail application had been filed on behalf of his client and served on the prosecution. Imemoro urged Justice Bogoro to remand the defendant in EFCC custody until the bail application is heard. After listening to the lawyers, the judge adjourned the case to January 16 for the bail hearing and ordered that the defendant be kept in Nigerian Correctional Services custody pending the bail hearing. Chairman of the Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, through his legal representative, has filed a formal corruption petition against the former managing director of the Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, at the headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. This move followed the withdrawal of the same petition from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, a strategic decision aimed at accelerating the prosecution process. In the petition signed by the lead counsel, O.J. Onoja, Dangote urged the EFCC to investigate allegations of abuse of office and corrupt enrichment against Ahmed and prosecute him if found culpable. It will be recalled that on December 14, 2025, Dangote raised concerns about Ahmed's financial dealings, alleging that the former regulator is living far beyond his legitimate means. According to Dangote, 4 of Ahmed's children attended elite secondary schools in Switzerland, including costs running into several millions of dollars, an expenditure that raises questions about potential conflicts of interest and the integrity of regulatory oversight in the downstream petroleum industry. Here in Osun State, investors at the Osogbo Industrial Development Center, IDC, in Ayekpe area of the state have called for swift government intervention amid the ongoing power crisis that has crippled industrialization at the federal government facility. The investors also urged the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, to avail the Osogbo IDC 18 hours daily power supply. Toby Sinusi has more on this.
Established in February 1976 on a 70-hectare expanse, the Osogbo Industrial Development Center was born from a partnership between the federal government and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization and the United Nations Development Program. Its mission was clear: to foster technical growth and provide critical support for small and medium-scale enterprises across the nation. Today, however, this vision, shared by 30 similar centers nationwide, stands in jeopardy. These centers, envisioned as the bedrock of a homegrown industrial revolution, have become largely inactive, representing loss of decades and a missed opportunity to build self-sustaining industrial base that could have powered Nigeria's economic advancement. Despite being transferred to the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, in 2011 for revitalization, progress has been slow. The Osogbo IDC embodies this struggle too and now grapples with a debilitating power crisis that is stifling production and chasing away investment. Investors relying on heavy machinery like Bolaji Jegede, who assembles grinding machines and wheelbarrows, are bearing the brunt. Mr. Jegede reveals that he has been forced to run entirely on a generator since starting operations 4 months ago, a challenge that he says may drive investors away.
Power is a big issue that we have now, and we are really appealing to government at all levels to work with the IBDC to ensure that we can get maximum power, because there's no way we can really get return on investment when we don't have power. And we're running diesel here for the past 4 months. We've been running on diesel every day. It's huge, and that's one thing that we really need to solve.
The story of paralysis continues elsewhere in the facility at Samuel Sanusi's modern automobile workshop, where modern-day technology is available to repair vehicles, and Monsurat's Ololade's leatherworks firm remained dormant, unable to commence business due to the unreliable electricity. Dr. Sanusi and his co-investors made a passionate appeal to government at all levels, calling for constant power to unlock their potential and operate effectively.
But we can't really start. Like I mentioned the other time, the only time I've seen light here was 7 p.m., just once. And within 2 hours, the light went off. So it's not really encouraging. We would be hoping that this support is provided as quickly as possible.
I was running the factory in a 3-bedroom flat, and we felt this is a big opportunity for people like us to evolve, add more capacity, and empower other young persons, train them, and expose them to the real-life problem. But what we met here is quite draining. But we are hopeful, and we believe that for the federal government to open this place for us, they won't just abandon us to it.
Similarly, the Osun State Manager of Smedan, Samuel Adebola, expressed deep concern over the impact of the blackout, specifically calling on the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, to honor a prior agreement to provide 18 hours of daily power to the industrial center.
The duration of supplying us with light has been so erratic, and we've had several meetings with the management of IBDC. They gave us approval of 18 hours, which they communicated to us. But since that time, it has never been implemented. So we are appealing to them. We are just appealing to IBDC and at the same time the state government to galvanize efforts in giving us a maximum supply of light. Because where you are, we are seated on a gold mine. This place has potential of giving people jobs at the same time of creating wealth for the state and beyond.
But IBEDC's senior communications officer in Osun State, Kikelomo Weye, in an interview, offered a different account, disputing the existence of any such agreement with the IDC investors. Mrs. Oweye explained that the feeders supplying the area fall under Band C, where supply is pegged at 12 hours, and that universally low generation from the national grid is affecting all their franchise areas.
IBEDC did not have an agreement with any investor at all of that capacity, and there was no promises that we can make outside our policies and our scope of operations, because the area where they are located, the feeder happens to be on Band C, which means minimum of 12 hours per day, and we can't go out of the scope to actually supply a single entity outside other feeders, because we work with the network. So it's what is obtainable on that feeder that we can actually give out to our customers.
She urged the investors at the Osogbo IDC, which is located in Ayepe area, to remain patient, assuring that interventions would follow once power generation improves nationally. The ongoing power crisis at the Osogbo IDC underscores a broader national challenge that businesses face in Nigeria. It is, however, expected that government at all levels make bold decisions to see to the revitalization of the Osogbo IDC and intervene in the power crisis.
This is one of the facilities at the Industrial Development Center here in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, and the investors here are decrying the lack of power to effectively run their businesses. As you can see, the one behind me has been running on generator for the past 4 months, and if this continues, these investors may begin to run at loss. From Osogbo, the Osun State capital, Toby Sanusi, Western Spring Television News.
Now talking security, the Oyo State Police Command on Friday arrested 3 suspected female kidnappers in Ikoyile, Orire Lekki government area of the state. According to a statement issued by the State Police Command, Public Relations Officer Olayinka Ayonlade In Ibadan, the state capital, the suspects, all teenagers, are Faithia Nuruddin, Taiwo Fatai, and Munirat Saliu. Ayonlade explained that one Islamiat Omowumi of Ikoyile reported at the police station on Friday that she had received a threatening phone call from a private number. The PPRO said during interrogation the suspects confessed to the act, claiming that the threat was intended as a prank. He added that a mobile phone allegedly used in perpetrating the act was recovered from them, further corroborating the investigation. Ayonlade stated that the suspects were currently in custody while investigation continued to fully unravel the circumstances surrounding the incident and determine appropriate legal action in accordance with the law. In another development, the Oyo State Police Command has officially announced a massive statewide crackdown on vehicles without valid registration and motorcyclists who conceal their identities while in transit. This enforcement, which is aimed at curbing a rising trend in criminal mobility and enhancing public safety, is set to begin in full on Monday. In a statement released on Friday, the command's public relations officer, DSP Ayolade Olayinka, disclosed that the order came directly from the Commissioner of Police, CP Femi Haruna, as part of a proactive strategy to deny criminals the tools of anonymity and strengthen crime prevention across the state. The police identified several primary targets for the upcoming operation, including unmarked vehicles, vehicles or motorcycles with covered, blinded, or fake plates, and unauthorized NANs or dealers' plates. Additionally, the crackdown will target motorcyclists who wear hoods or cover their faces with masks in a manner capable of concealing their identity. The police leadership emphasized that the grace period for compliance is coming to an end, warning that from Monday, tactical units and patrol teams will have a mandate to seize non-compliant vehicles. These measures have become imperative following credible intelligence and operational assessments, which reveal that criminal elements increasingly exploit unmarked vehicles and disguised motorcyclists to evade detection and perpetrate crimes within local communities. Nasarawa State Police Command has rescued 3 kidnapped victims, arrested 6 suspects in a joint operation with local vigilantes. According to a statement issued by the police public relations officer in the state, SP Rahman Nansal, the victims, 2 females and 1 male, were abducted from Angara village in Lafia local government and were rescued unhurt. He said the suspects, who have confessed to the crime, have been transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for further investigation and prosecution. Nansel explains that the operation was carried out by police operatives from Asakio Division following a complaint received on January 7, 2026. The statement added that the Commissioner of Police, CP Shatima Jalo Mohammed, assured residents of the command's commitment to combating criminality in the state. The Kano State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has redeployed the divisional officer in charge of Fage Division over the death of a suspect in custody. NSCDC State Commandant Mohammed Agalama approved the removal of the divisional officer, SC Amina Kolawole, and announced the deployment of CSC Bashar Abubakar as replacement. The command announced this in a statement its public relations officer, SC Ibrahim Abdullahi, issued on Friday. The command explains that the decision was taken after a panel of inquiry was set up to investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident. In the meantime, the Edo State chapter of the Nigeria Medical Association, NMA, has announced withdrawal of its services across the state's hospitals with effect from January 10, 2026. This is even as the union demanded the release of two of its members, Dr. Abel Babatunde and Dr. Stephen Osamaye, who were abducted on January 1 and 2. Dr. Abu, a staff member of the Edo State University Teaching Hospital, was kidnapped in Auchi, while Dr. Stephen, who works at the Specialist Teaching Hospital, was kidnapped at the Ile Road, Ekpoma. The state's NMA chairman, Eustace Osayale, in a statement, said the withdrawal of services as a direct consequence of the abduction of their colleagues and a reflection of the heightened sense of vulnerability among medical practitioners in the state. According to him, among the association's demands are enhanced security protocols for Edo State residents, regular engagement between NMA Edo and the Edo State government, and security concerns, among others. He explains that the union would continue to withhold services statewide until its demands were met. And still to come, federal government announces new policy framework aimed at reducing financial burden on parents, improving learning outcomes, and promoting sustainability in schools through adoption of reusable, high-quality textbooks. We will bring you more on this when we return. Please stay with us.
Samuel Ladoke Akintola was a frontal figure in the historical moves that birthed an independent Nigeria from colonial Britain. As a freedom activist, he deployed his wits, energy, intellect, and oratory skills to prepare the grounds for constitutional talks that eventually culminated in the country's independence in 1960. The 13th Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land cut his teeth as a politician when he became a foundation member of Action Group, the dominant political party in the Western region, and was elected the party's parliamentary leader of opposition at the Federal House of Representatives. The crisis in the Action Group, which pitched Samuel Ladoke Akintola against his leader, was not only a sore point in his colorful political life, but a reversal of gains which characterized the exemplary leadership of Awolowo Akintola premiership. 23 years after his death, Oyo State University of Technology Ogbomosho was renamed Samuel Ladoke Akintola University of Technology to keep his memory alive. Western Spring Television identifies Samuel Ladoke Akintola as a major character in history.
Up to 75% of human infectious diseases originates in animals. And as more bushmeat is brought into our city,